on Hits1, and Niall Horan is here. And, I was laughing because every time you've come in, you've said, Nicole, I feel like every time I come in, you're either pregnant or have just had a baby. And now it's pregnant, just had a baby, or got hit by a car. Add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
Take your pick. And you were laughing, but it hurt to laugh, so you stopped laughing.
You noticed that, yeah.
What's the worst? Have you ever had like a serious painful injury like this? Like, what's the worst thing you've ever been through?
Oh, nothing like that. I dislocated my knee 9 times.
For real?
Seriously?
How?
I have this thing where my kneecaps don't sit into the groove that they're meant to sit into.
Yeah.
And I got a kick one time in a game of soccer, put it out, and then it never came back in. So I had to get a big surgery on it, but I've never been knocked down or anything. But,
I mean, I would feel like being on tour, like being on stage. For some reason, I just picture myself being super accident prone on stage. And there's a lot going on. People are screaming. There's lights. There's other people. Like, I don't know. Nothing ever happened on stage.
I've dislocated my knee on stage. That was one of the 9 times.
Wow. Do you prepare it any? Do you wrap it up extra when you? Okay.
Yeah, wrap it up, but adrenaline takes over, and you can get through any sort of bandage.
So you're gearing up. You're getting ready to go out on the road again. How's that going?
Well, just getting back into the mix of promo, interviews.
Yes.
Seeing all you lovely people. The last time I spoke to you was all on Zoom.
Yeah.
So it's good. That's different.
I think we spoke to you most during the COVID, the pandemic. We were talking to you every other week.
I know.
Right? Remember that?
Awesome.
Yeah, it was
Shouts
great.
out to Ash. We were talking to her too. What's up, Ash? I know she's listening.
Yeah, I know. We did all that. So it's good to be back. It's good to be back in a mix of things. I felt like we'd all kind of fallen off the face of the earth for a while, so it's good to be back.
So listen, I hear that you're, sorry, Nicole, I hear that you're starting The Voice next week. Is this accurate?
Yeah, The Voice goes on TV next week, March 6th. Yeah. Like that, I think. All the auditions start, so it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of my face.
I know that you've been very honest about, like, if Katy Perry didn't overrule Simon when you were on X Factor, that you might not be here today. Does that play into your mind when you're coaching? I mean, you've got these kids' like careers, like, or futures in your hands a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. It's that's the great thing about The Voice is the whole unknown, press the button, all that. You can start accumulating a bit of a team, and then it's just the decision making after that is just horrific. You've got like 2 incredible singers stood there, and you have to say, you're staying, you're going. It's just not. It's not very nice, especially having been on the other side where you know exactly what it is. Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask. Is being on the judges' table now, like you think back about your experience, what was like? Oh God, I did that.
Yeah, no, there's. I've been there. I know exactly how it feels to look at someone who's got my future in their hands.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm standing there with that power, and I think the biggest takeaway though is a lot of these people are like 18, 19. It's like at that time you think, oh my God, it's over for me. I'll never do it. But I'm always telling them, like, this just because it didn't work on this particular show doesn't mean that it's like the end of the road.
In the previews for this season of The Voice, you do a pretty amazing Blake Shelton. You get the Blake impression in there. Is there any other celebrity impressions you can do that we might know?
Oh God, it's more accents I can do than impressions. I'm not sure if even that's a good. Chance told me the other day that I sound like Forrest Gump when I do when I do Blake Shelton. Probably do. It's more the accent than it is the person.
Sometimes when we talk to Louis Capaldi, we want you to come as a translator because sometimes we go, what did he say, Ryan?
He'll get used to it. That's what I learned coming here. I was just talking to Mikey Piff. I came here 11 years ago for the first time and like doing interviews, and everyone in the room would just be looking at me like I had 10 heads because I was speaking a different language. Over the years, I've learned to. I don't think my accent's changed, but I've definitely like slowed down.
Yeah.
Even the way I just said that, slowed down. that would have been just a lot. Slow down.
We were just laughing about like how it's very hard to understand Louis Capaldi sometimes and his accent. And you said, over the years you've gotten kind of used to people, needing you to slow down a little bit. I went out, maybe a couple months ago with a friend of mine who is from Donegal.
Right.
And she's good. I can understand what she's saying until a certain amount of drinks, and then I'm like, you know what? That's a wrap. Do you find that when you are hanging out with Louis, like you can understand it, but after a good amount of beers, I would assume even for you it gets difficult?
I think no. To be honest, it's the Celtic thing. Like when we're together and we're drinking, the 2 of us go back to our normal pace. Like, and I can understand every word he says. He can understand me, but I can see everyone else going, what is going on here? This sounds like lunacy.
Well, you said that you had to slow down with Lewis because the hangovers are real. What is it get you to that point? What do you guys, is it shots? Is it just too much too long?
It's just too much too long. We're big daytime drinkers.
Yes.
And that's what it just kind of, it gets to us after a while. But yeah, I'm getting to that age though. You know, where
can't do it like you used to.
No.
Yeah,
I didn't. I thought that was a myth.
No,
it's not.
Yeah, it's real.
If you're 25 now, get ready.
So, you know, Lewis
got 5 more years.
Lewis Capaldi is actually on tour right now, as you know. You're his good friend. He was in Berlin, and he spotted in the audience, I don't know if you saw this, it's all over TikTok. He spotted somebody with a cardboard cutout of you, and it said, you cheater. Do you feel as though Lewis cheated on you when he kissed Harry?
It's tough. It's been a tough week.
Hard.
It's been a tough couple of weeks. I'm joking. I know, we're just having a laugh with him. We just go at each other all the time, just winding each other up. He then tried to call me. He called and I missed it because I was asleep because I was in America. Mm-hmm. And then he sent me a video of the whole crowd shouting, 20,000 people shouting, "F Niall."
So Lewis
counts them down, and the whole place just goes.
I know people got really excited because they thought we might be getting music from you and Lewis, but that's probably not going to happen. No. But how often does it that you work on something with somebody that we would get so excited about and we just never hear about it or never know? It happens all the time, right?
Yeah, no, I kind of. It's a weird one because you start making your music, and then it's just if it happens or not, like unless you stick time aside to do that, but you also want to get the bulk of your record made too,
right?
So you're not thinking about collaborations for a long time, and then before you know it, you've got an album's worth, and it's kind of too late in a way. But not that often. The only times I've ever done it is with Anne-Marie, and we did that because it was pandemic time and I wasn't even making a record. It was like, do you want to write some songs?
Yeah. Right.
So we wrote a couple, and then Lewis, I wrote one with him a while ago.
Right.
But it's just, if it was good enough, we would have released it, put it that way.
Okay. Now listen, you got this show coming out, I believe it's in June, right? Give us a little sneak peek. What can we expect from the album?
I personally think it's my best stuff yet.
Okay.
For sure. And I think Heaven is a good taster for that. Like, sound-wise, I wanted the sound to match what I was saying, and it's just become a little bit more mature. And then the rest of the record is kind of, Heaven's a good taster. The rest of the record, there's different sounds in there, but they all, I know this is a stupid thing to say, but they all sound like they're from the same record and not from instead of like loads of different records and just.
So is it safe to say you experimented with some new sounds for this record?
Oh yeah, for sure. We got
because we hear that in Heaven. It's a little bit different. Yes,
exactly. It's definitely a newer vibe. There's no doubt. But it still sounds like me in the maddest way. Everyone was like, Heaven is different, but it still sounds like you.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
I wanted like my ballads to be a bit moodier and a bit stranger sounding. And then I wanted to try different things in the up tempo. There's a lot of like synth stuff in there, and BVs, like background vocals, were a big thing for me. I wanted to make them as much in the production as like the guitar is. I wanted to make them a thing. Possible. Yeah.
Okay.
And I did days and days and stacks of harmonies and stuff like that to make them as part of the song too. Nice. Like you hear on the start of Heaven or whatever.
You did your own background vocals? Did you do?
Yeah.
Wow.
It took me a very long time. Probably like a day for each song, just to get it all tight and right. And the girl I write with a lot, Amy Allen, she helped me a lot. She was brilliant.
Nice. Niall Horan's here, and somebody left something for you, so we're going to do that next on the mashup.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
All right, it's the mashup on Hits1. Ryan, Stan, Nicole, and Niall Horan is here, and everyone who stops Niall, you know this, leaves a guest leaves a question for the next guest.
Right. If they left a guest, we'd be in a lot of trouble.
That'd be cool.
It's a small room.
It's time for yours. Let's go.
The question from the rich and the famous.
I have a question for you. This is Pink, and I want to know what, if anything, keeps you up at night.
Oh, hello, Pink. That's cool, isn't it, to be able to say that?
Yeah,
Hello,
right.
Pink. I love Pink. Wow, what keeps me up at night? Wow. The most random things.
Okay.
Like work the next morning. You know, if you like wake up in the middle of the night. I've also got a bad bladder. Like, I need to go for a wee.
Doesn't help.
And then I just start thinking the most random things. Like, why is that lamp over there that color? Why don't I change that? Like, you know, like the most random.
It's just anxiety, basically.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell it is. Just like absolute mindless crap going on around my head. Nothing ever serious keeps me up at night.
Okay.
Like, you know when people are like, oh, I can't. Yeah, like I'm kept up all night by like big thoughts.
Yeah.
Or if I have something the next day that's big, you know, that doesn't keep me up at night. It's just like the most random stuff.
Like this. I'm definitely having eggs tomorrow when I get up.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. What are we gonna have for lunch?
I bet a lot of people wish that those were the things that kept them up at night. People who actually have insomnia, but you know, I feel like you took like some actual personal time. Like you said, I've been away for a while. Like, you know, at least musically, you were away for a while. Yeah. And I almost feel like it was in place of / along with social media. I feel like a lot of people are randomly taking social media breaks now. Like saw that Selena Gomez just did. It's just too much, all the noise out there. Did you feel like you got a good rest, like you got a good reset when you were kind of away a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's no doubt that I hadn't stopped working from 2010. So when the pandemic happened, it was kind of like, oh no, I want to go on tour. Like my album just came out and I didn't get to tour it or do any promotion for it or anything like that. And then after a while, I was like, well, now I've got no other option but just to sit here in the living room like everyone else. And I kind of nearly like started going, well, I haven't had any time off for a long time. I know that sounds like a terrible thing to say during like an awful pandemic, but I hadn't had any time off, so I kind of started working out and doing the usual. And then just after that, just kind of kept that going for a little bit. When the world was opening back up, I was like, I'm going to just enjoy this for what it is, because once it starts, it doesn't stop. Like I'm at the very start now of probably 2 and a bit years of world traveling and madness. So I was thinking ahead of time, you know, and I'm glad I did, because now I'm ready to rock.
Well, there was part of it too that you kind of turned your hobby into a business. Like golf is relaxing for a lot of people, but you've decided to take on work around it.
Started a golf management company about 5 years ago and really dug into it during the pandemic.
Replacing phones?
Yeah, honestly, golf was probably one of the only sports that was being played, so that never stopped. I was always like working on that.
Yeah. I saw you when Tyrell Hatton broke, the drive hit the kid's phone.
Sorry,
you replaced the kid's iPhone?
Yeah. Tyrell was playing with Tiger last week in LA. That was sick. Seeing Tiger Woods play. And the two, Tyrell hit his ball into the trees, and it hit some guy on the phone on his pocket, and his phone was facing down, and it shot 30 yards back into the fairway.
Oh,
so
my God.
Just like he was in the tree. Well, all of a sudden he's like gone from the bushes to the middle of the fairway just because it hit off someone's phone. He cracked his phone, and Tyrell said to me, "Just get his details. I want to get my new phone."
Oh my God.
So here I am, just like getting this guy's phone number. But listen, it's all part of the business, you know. This is what you get if you sign up for Modest Golf. So if you're any good, come sign up. Part of the service, you know.
That's a good plug. I like that.
Have you watched Full Swing at all? I've been watching a little bit of Full Swing on Netflix, and I feel like you probably have a little bit of the behind the scenes. I mean, it's really going, like pulling back the velvet rope and seeing what really happens with some of these golfers.
It's crazy.
It's craziness.
It's been so good to watch. I've really enjoyed it. A good friend of mine, Chad Mum, made it executive producer of it. And he's been talking to me about it forever, but it was great to see it all in one go. Of course, I watched it all in one go. But yeah, no, I know exactly what goes on behind the scenes, so there's no real like shocks to me, but as like a great insight. You know, like I'm just about to sit down and watch the 5th season of Drive to Survive for the Formula One thing, and it's just that if you're a non-golf fan, like I was a non-golf or a non-Formula One fan, they're a great insight as to what goes on behind.
Hey, speaking of insight, how many tracks can we expect on the show?
10.
10 tracks.
10 tracks. I wanted to make one of those, like, that would be classed as a short album these days, wouldn't it? But I just wanted one of those albums that when you get to the end, you want to go back to the start and you're not thinking, Jesus, when is this ending?